Hey guys, and welcome to a new series on my channel. Recently I asked you guys whether or not you'd be interested in seeing a palette a day series. A couple of you did say you'd be interested in seeing that series testing all of the indie brand eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection, and these are brand new to me. I made it kind of a mission in my personal life to support more independent brands and get more into indie eyeshadow brands. So I have been hauling a bunch. I've got a bunch of different indie brand haul shadow videos on my channel. I think there's 4 installments, and I will be trying to link those in the description box in case you guys are interested in checking them out and you haven't already. But I have 45 palettes that I have not tested, I have not put on my eyes. I have swatched most of these in the haul video, but in these videos I am going to fully swatch all of the palettes before we do one look. Not all of these palettes are still available. I noticed that after hauling them, some of them sell out. That's how indie brand shadows go. But in case some of them do come back in stock, and in case you guys have these palettes in your current collection and are interested in seeing a look, I am going to include all of the palettes that I hauled, regardless of whether or not they are still available. I am just picking the palettes that are really calling to me the day that I come up here to film these videos. And if you are interested in me doing a look with any one of those next, please leave it in the comments below. If you guys aren't currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe. You guys, let's get into it. Welcome in. Today we're going to be doing a palette from a brand that I love. This is my third palette that I have from this brand. I think it's the third, maybe the fourth. It's the Mystical Garden palette from Gimme Glow Cosmetics. I'm still working on my fall themed palettes. It's probably been about 10 days since I filmed last. I have been crazy busy this month in December, so I didn't get through the fall themed palettes as quickly as I wanted to, like the earlier part of December and at the end of November, of course. This palette looks to be discontinued, and it also like broke on me. This was glued on the Mystical Garden, but it's magnetized, so it's sticking to the magnets that are in here. I don't know if the magnets are like the magnets that are coming from the pans, or no, it appears that there's some sort of magnet in here. Anyway, it was glued, it did come off. I can't tell what shades are what, if there are any like duochromes in here, but I think that these 3 metallics are just your standard Gimme Glow formula metallics. I love them. If you've ever heard of me talk about Gimme Glow formula, you know that my favorite thing about them are their really, really densely packed and very pigmented metallic formula. They just go on for days. They're something special. This is a pretty matte heavy palette in general. You go pretty light and then pretty dark with this brown shade here, but it's got a decent neutral base to it with the pop of blue in this quad corner over here. We are going to do a mustardy green look today with the browns. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with this coppery shimmer here, but as you know, you guys, we swatch this whole thing out and then we create the look together. I probably am gonna end up turning on the fan at some point just because it's so freaking hot in here. Actually, let me do that now. We've had the AC off since it started cooling down, but now it's picking back up in terms of temps here, and hopefully by Christmas it goes back down. All right, this is Mystical Gardens. It's like the name of the palette. It's really just a peachy kind of blending shade, kind of my skin tone, as I usually say. Back on camera, because the brightness is up pretty high, you can't really see it, but I can see it in person pretty well. It's actually a nice peachy shade that might show up on me. This is Night Owl here, another matte. We're getting a lot of mattes in this palette, of course. I mean, look at them. They're single swipe goodness. That's what Gimme Glow does really well. They have a great matte formula too, but honestly it's the shimmers for me. I'm not kidding. But these do feel like literal butter. They're just on the softer side. They're a thinner matte formula overall, I think. They get a little bit crumbly in the pan. This is a super neutral but super deep brown shade, so it does go super light to super dark in the palette, which when I have mid-tone shimmers, which 2 of these are, I really want something in the mattes department. So this one is like really deep for this shade right here, and this is great for this coppery mid-tone shade. I feel like we're gonna have a good time with this. All right, I can't read this. Dark as My Soul is this mustardy shade right here. Wow, see, these like really do have a nice single swipe. This next one is Butterly Magic. These are very crumbly in the pan. I will say that's not my favorite thing about them, but then like once you touch them to skin, they're not falling apart everywhere. I have to get really close to the palette to read this writing because it's cursive, but it's an interesting text. Pretty Paranormal is this shade, which is just a deeper version of the teal shade above. I like that there's a gradient here. You know what? Let me just swatch the next teal next to them so you guys can see like the differences. Might as well. So there's the gradient. I can tell the difference. When you start blending it out, you might not be able to. Let's go ahead and swatch this one, which is the blue shimmer, and this one is in Charmed. Ooh, look, it has like silver reflex on it. Delish. See the shimmer formula? It's still there. It'll just keep going. It's that kind of shimmer formula that just like drags down your whole arm. Like you barely need to touch it. All right, now the other shimmer, which is under my spell. I'm trying to guess what these say. Without my glasses, I can barely read them because of this text. Look how thick and pigmented and beautiful that is. I'm blind. Seductive Sorceress is the next one, which is a nice deeper shade than these two up here. So that's kind of how that gradient goes. I mean, these are basically laid out in quads, so I could have swatched it like that. However, I usually go left to right, top to bottom. I'll just stop because I always do this. But one quad is here, one quad in the middle, and one quad over here. The palette layout, fabulous. Totally makes sense to me, especially if you struggle to create eye looks when you have a neutral palette with pops of blue. Laying it in quads so people understand like what shades would look good with another is always a plus in my book, I think. All right, this really truly is the last shade. It's in Sweet Sage because I already swatched the other blues that are next to it. So sorry I did not swatch all the quads together. But look at the pigmentation. Look at the single swipe. Like, look how deliciously opaque and rich these are. Give Me Glow formula does this every time, which is not always the case. In some of my palettes, I do get inconsistencies. There are some Clarity Cosmetics palettes that I love, and then some of them have weird crumbly shimmer shades that I cannot stand that really steer me away from purchasing other palettes from them. But Give Me Glow 100% comes consistent with their formulas in the 3 or 4 palettes that I have from them. So I'm excited to get this on the eyes, you guys. I told you we're gonna do a mustardy look starting with the brown, and we're gonna use that copper shimmer. So let's get into it. Hopefully I have us zoomed in here at an appropriate amount. We're going to start with Waxing Crescent, which I actually didn't call out what the shade name was, in the deepest brown shade. We're gonna then buff it with this Sage one and then this one here. So we're just like doing a gradient. We're starting from dark to lightest, and then we're using that copper shimmer. That's what's happening. We're taking a pretty thick angled packer brush for the outer corner. Oh my gosh, I just can't. And we're placing it here. Oh my goodness. You don't need a lot of shadow. Even though these are kind of crumbly, they go forever. That's what that single swipe will do, I tell you what. When it carries out this far, I don't even know what to do with myself. All right, we're going with a different brush now. This one is smaller but fluffy, and we're going into Sweet Sage, and we're gonna start just taking the part that's like kind of visible, blending around it. We'll deepen up the outer corner again afterward, but this is a super saturated brown shade. I want it to be saturated, but I want it to blend into the other ones. It's picking up a lot of that brown shade on this brush. That's it for that side. I'm doing the same thing over here. This is a palette I can work with, you guys. These blend and diffuse like heaven. Some of the shades I've been using lately, they just pack well, but they don't blend well, and it's such a nightmare because it makes it look so much harder. Like, you just spend so much time doing it. Like, Give Me Glow formula, I would hands down pay for over and over again. All right, we're going into Dark as My Soul. You guys, I'm totally blind. The writing is really hard to see from far away. You can see like the text there. It's just a little bit difficult to read anyway. All right, I'm gonna bring this one all the way in and still diffuse that other shade out. Now these ones might come out similar, and we might want to add that Sweet Sage back so that it shows up a little bit. Like, definitely better than this. It diffused out the brown, but man, they blended in together maybe too much. Oh, I love this. This is almost like a really mustardy neutral. So nice. I did put a little bit more Sweet Sage on the brush to blend these two together. Just the edges on the inside of the eye. Honestly, we're so close to being done. So let's just go ahead and add Waxing Crescent, the brown shade, back to the bottom part of the outer corner so we can deepen this look up, please. And hopefully this blends nicely, which I think it will, but this brown is so pigmented. I feel like you even kind of got to be careful. I had a little bit to drink tonight, and I can see my face starting to get redder and redder. All right, the Baddest Witch is the shimmer we're taking. All of these shimmers are fantastic. Oh, look at that. I stuck my hand in something. But they complement the mattes perfectly. You're not questioning like, what shimmer do I use for what matte? Maybe it makes it a little bit boring because it kind of wants you to stick to that, but you don't have to. I could even see me using the peach shades with the brown shade in the outer corner, and that would still look stunning. I could even see myself using like the pink shade for the Deep Sage like in the outer corner, and I don't think that would look bad. Are you kidding? There's still so much left over and I'm totally done. Should I try with the other eye with this finger? Okay, I'm pretty sure I am done with the top part. I do want to tie this look in with some lashes tonight and to do some lower lash line work. So I'm gonna go and finish my makeup and cover up the redness that's happening because it's so freaking hot up here. And we'll come back and finish the eye look. Let's finish up this eye look. No surprises. We're gonna take the same shades for the bottom. So we're gonna do this one, tight. And we're gonna take, I think the green sage one? Maybe the lighter like mustardy one to smoke it out. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm gonna go the whole way with that deep brown shade. This is such a good deep brown shade. It's like almost black. All right, something fluffier. I'm doing the mustardy yellow shade. I've decided to smoke out this lower lash line. I think I like it. We got a smoky fall look today, folks. I'm gonna do the Bad Gal Bang Mascara from Benefit. It's just a little mini that I have, but it's newish, I guess. Okay, the look is complete. Let's talk final thoughts on this palette. Is there an easier indie brand eyeshadow formula on the market? Like, not really. Their shadows are literally just spectacular. Made in the USA pressed pigment palette. My whole thing came off, so I'm sorry. I mean, regardless of whether or not this is on there, it's still a nice palette, but you know, it's kind of nice to have that on there. The formula is just special. It's spectacular. And I've heard you guys say very similar things about the Gimme Glow formula. The mattes blend perfectly. They're pigmented. They don't diffuse into nothing. They do feel thin and powdery, but once they get to the eyes, they perform really well. And they're not a super similar formula to other palettes that I have. Sometimes in testing these formulas over and over, it's like, okay, you know, one eyeshadow starts to feel like another eyeshadow, and Give Me Glow just stands out. Their formula is just different. It feels like it comes from a different manufacturing plant than a lot of the other indie brand shadows that I have. I like their color stories. I love the shimmer formula. They're spectacular. I just enjoy putting the looks together every time I use their palettes, and every time it's always some like really special look that I remember. The thing just fell off. I think that's really what it comes down to. Do I remember the formula? Do I remember the palettes? I've hauled over 60 palettes this year. It might even be more than that. I don't know, I haven't counted. But from different indie brands, and I have tested a bunch of them doing this palette a day series, and you guys, this is one of the special ones for certain. So anyway, that was the look that I put together today for you guys and just playing around for me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys have this palette in your collection, I just highly recommend you don't declutter any of your Give Me Glow Cosmetics palettes because I think they're special and outstanding. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys are not currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe, you guys. I'm out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye, guys.